One of the most obnoxious and annoying things in the world, and dangerous probably, is an untrained dog. You know, you know the ones. They're crazy, yippy, and jumping around, and they make other people nervous. They probably make their owner really nervous, and it's not good because they're prone to running into the street, and that's obviously not a good thing. So, an untrained dog is a really unhappy dog. I don't know if you've ever thought about it that way, but truly is. Whereas a trained dog, they understand these are my boundaries. This is when I'm going to get fed. I understand how the program works. So everybody's happy. People can approach the dog and they get to meet new people all the time, and the people aren't scared the dog's going to bite them. You get it. So, untrained dogs, bad. I also like and I don't know that I like it, but I get a kick out of the statement that people make when they're talking about meditation, or somebody says, "Hey, do you meditate? Have you ever meditated?" And they say, "Well, you know what? I can't do that. My brain is just way too busy." And not unlike the Russell Simmons quote, he said, "If you can't find 20 minutes to meditate, you need really to meditate." Well, if you think that your brain is so out of control or so crazy and chaotic that you can never meditate, that's just a surefire sign that you really need to be meditating. And when we are not in control of our thoughts, they bounce around. We're bouncing from one thing to the other, shiny object syndrome, squirrel, this, that, and the other thing. In a lot of ways, it is like having an untrained dog. You having an untrained mind is frankly just kind of a lazy thing. And if you think that your brain is so special that meditation will not help to be more in charge of your thoughts, well, I think that that's a pretty foolish and probably pretty arrogant thing to say, because a lot of the highest performers, the most successful human beings on planet Earth that have ever walked the face of the earth have a meditation practice or a prayer practice, just a time where you sit with your thoughts or you sit and attempt to quiet your thoughts, quiet your mind. And in a lot of ways, when you look at a crazy untrained dog and you're like, how in the world is anybody ever going to take control of that? And then dog whisperer Caesar Milan walks in and within minutes is helping the dog to become more under control, to become better trained, just like that. And certainly, I have to imagine that you would find it to be beneficial if you were more in charge of the direction of your brain and the direction of your thinking. I don't know how many thoughts we have every day, 50,000, 60,000, 100,000, lots. I don't know if you realize this or not, but the reality of our thinking is that the vast majority are rehashing and rethinking the same things over and over again. So if you have 60,000 thoughts a day, I bet, and you can throw this in your Google machine or ask AI or whatever, how many of my thoughts are recurring? I bet it's at least 80%, if not 90% of the thoughts you have are recurring. And that's kind of like when you hear that 90% of the decisions you make around money are based on emotion, you're probably like, no way. There's no way that that's true, which is what I said. And then I thought about it and I was like, oh yeah, everything that I do is based on how I feel about it. So if you think that you're not just rehashing and revisiting the same old thinking day in, day out, experiencing Groundhog Day, you, brother or sister, are wrong. So, controlling our mind, recognizing that our mind and our thinking and the direction of our thinking is a muscle that can be strengthened, just like you can train your dog to do whatever you want it to do, well, within reason, we are able to better control the direction of our mind. And if you are a person who says, there's not enough time to get things done, or you're so busy all the time, I advocate that practicing meditation, thinking about and making sure that you are in charge of your thinking is a very, 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 very beneficial thing. So, my dog pulls on the leash, barks at strangers, and chews my shoes. That's just the way he or she is. Nope. That's just the way your dog is because it hasn't been trained yet. So, an untrained mind behaves just like that dog. It's restless, it's reactive, it's distracted, it's easily triggered, it's potentially destructive. It's a potential weapon of mass destruction. If you do not consider your mind as potentially a weapon of mass destruction, you haven't thought deeply about it. I have the ability to rationalize and to do the dumbest stuff in the world. But that's unchecked. When I do actually start training my mind, like a trained dog, it looks way different. We're calmer. We're more attentive. We're more focused. We're more responsive. We are safe to be with ourselves and we're safe around others. And the reality is, you don't train your dog in one heroic afternoon. Maybe. Dog Whisperer probably could. You and I train it through simple, repeated cues. Sit, stay, here. And a mantra is the mental equivalent of here. So, what is that mantra? During your meditation, it is a phrase that you focus on that brings your thinking back, brings it back, brings it back. Just like training a dog, you start meditating, and you're going to be terrible at it. But a little bit at a time, you train your brain to bring it back, to refocus, to recenter on whatever your mantra is. It could be a word, it could be a saying, but it is the equivalent of here. Focus your attention here. It's the leash that you hold. It's the cue that your brain learns to honor. It's the reset that brings you from chaos back to clarity. It's what we want. So, training our brain when our thoughts are spinning out of control. This is what I'm really at the heart of what I'm interested in being helpful on is it's easy when things are going awesome. Life is easy. Just this boulevard of uninterrupted green lights. We can just keep driving. You don't have to worry about a thing. We're on cruise control. We're in the flow state. Everything's going awesome. But what happens when things do not go awesome? When I get punched in the mouth? When things go the opposite of what I want? Well, that's where our mantra can be a reset point, can bring you back. So when your mind is racing, you're catastrophizing your life and everything, you're replaying those past mistakes over and over again or inventing future disasters. You don't fight the thoughts, you redirect the brain. So stop fighting against it. Just change the direction of your thinking with your mantra. You bring it back. It's a nice gentle tug or push. So a good mantra is short, it's stable, it's neutral. So that just means that you don't choose the most triggering word in the world as your mantra. If you are a Democrat, the example that would be Trump, because you probably don't want to say that. And if you're a Republican, it might be Pelosi or Biden. You get the idea. So just don't make it so it's this heavy word. Just make it neutral. It needs to be repeatable when you're stressed out. It needs to be something that you can identify with that's centering to you. So it could be back to center, here and now, meaningful few, do what matters, return. And just pick one and use it every time your mind starts running around. And then with repetition, your brain learns that, oh, okay, this cue, bring it back to center, means stop chasing shadows, return to the present moment. And that's the training, a little bit at a time. And again, that we have the same thoughts over and over again. We have patterns and habits that our brains constantly are looping. And we've learned these over time and we've gotten awesome at them, whether they're serving us or they're not. We've become really proficient at that. And those loops have momentum, they have gravity because, and it's, an object in motion will stay in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. That's what I'm talking about. So your mantra is that outside force that comes in and disrupts those existing patterns. So think about it as a brake. You're pumping the brakes a little bit. You're not bulldozing through your brain. You're saying, no, that's not serving me. Me thinking about, that guy or gal that did that thing to me 10 years ago, or that experience I had when I was in high school or when I was 5 years old, that's not helping me to be a successful version of me in the current time. So it's a brake. We're pumping the brakes. And I don't want you to think that you need to overpower your thinking. You just need to interrupt it. You give the brain a new task and a new track to run on or a new groove to operate in. So you say the mantra one time calmly, repeat it with intention, and let your body then follow the words. So what we're doing is you're teaching your mind, your brain, a new rhythm to go through. So the old loops start to dissolve because you stop feeding them. You stop giving it oxygen. You stop giving it the attention. And I think that your mantra, what we're looking for is to think about it as a compass, that this is sort of a true north. It's not a leash, it's a bearing. So when your life goes sideways, your mantra becomes that reminder. This is what I control. This is what matters. This is who I intend to be. So in the chaos of the moment, intention is easy to lose. And a mantra is how we reclaim it. What we're doing is we're training our attention. You think about, or I invite you to think about, which we've discussed, is Pareto, who is the 80-20 rule guy, saying that 20% of your actions are going to give you 80% of the results. And with that, there's a meaningful few activities that are going to drive the greatest benefit for you versus the trivial many. Because at any moment, you can choose at this point in time to do just about anything. You can decide to give your attention to anything, you can give your time, whatever. But understanding these are the activities that are really going to move the needle for me, that are going to give me the largest, highest, best impact. These are the things that I ought to be doing, especially if you're somebody who's trying to figure out how to get more done in less time or how to have a greater outsized impact, understanding what your meaningful few activities are and really focusing on those versus just, I'm going to do whatever. That is the untrained dog. And most people live like that. Most people, the mind drags the body into the trivial. The body follows along, and unfortunately, then life also follows. It's just how we get stuck, how we don't progress, how we don't get what we want. So we're just not doing good thinking. And a mantra is a way of reversing that. I'm not saying it's some kind of a magic wand or silver bullet, but it is a really powerful tool in our battle against ourselves. So we use the mantra to interrupt a trivial impulse before it becomes a trivial action. So the only thing is we have to pay attention. We have to catch ourselves before or don't let ourselves go too deeply into those trivial many. So imagine that you are deep in email loops, or you've been scrolling through and you're just procrastinating. You're avoiding having the difficult conversation or conversations that you need to have. You are absolutely wasting time, energy, attention, and money, which of course are your MBRs. We don't want to waste those. So the moment you become aware, even 1 millisecond of awareness, and then you don't shame yourself, you just say the mantra. And that's the reset. So when we notice, oh, look, I've been, scrolling through social media for 10 minutes, or I've just been whatever. So many different things we can do. It's okay. I don't want you to beat up on yourself. I just want you to say your mantra. That's the reset. Meaningful few. And you're back. Every mantra, or when you use your mantra, it's this little micro discipline. So every time you use it, you're interrupting that trivial habit. You're laying a new neural brick in your path or on your path to mastery. You're literally strengthening your brain for self-control, self-management, redirection, focus, intentionality, and ultimately alignment. You are being a good curator of your attention. You're being a good curator of your thinking. And it's a good way to shift momentum, because momentum is everything. If you've got great momentum, you're riding the wave, keep it going. But the opposite is also true. We can get stuck in the doldrums, can just get stuck adrift, rudderless, no wind. And when you find yourself just sort of wandering the forest of triviality, of trivial many, it's hard. It can trap you there, and we don't want to get trapped there. So the moment you say your mantra, you shift from drifting to now choosing the intention or the direction of your thinking. It's you kicking the trivial many out of the driver's seat and sitting down and grabbing hold of that steering wheel. It's stepping on the gas in the way that you want to be moving. So you're propelling yourself in the direction of what it is that you want. So choosing your mantra, there's lots of different categories you can do it. If you want to try to center yourself for emotional turbulence, think back to center. Think here and now. Think calm body, clear mind. if you want to increase your performance, think about when you find yourself just going through, oh my gosh, all the different things I have to do right now, and it's overwhelming and it just keeps you paralyzed and you're not moving forward. Think about meaningful few. Think, do the work, move the needle. What must be done? Do what must be done. And if you're thinking about affirmations or connecting what it is you want with where it is you're going, so sort of an identity mantra, maybe be the one. Perhaps strong, steady, sovereign. Perhaps I do what matters. And if we're trying to ground ourselves, I'm responsible. I return. Let it be enough. So, how do we do this? How do we put these into practice and do it consistently? Because that's what we want to get to, is we want to make this automatic. And it won't be at first. It'll be difficult at first. We need to remind ourselves to do this. But the first step is just simply noticing. So try to catch yourself when you are drifting, when you are diverting from what it is that you ought to be doing at any moment in time. You catch yourself. And as you get better at this, you're going to catch yourself earlier and earlier and earlier, and every little minute helps, especially if you're trying to get a lot done in a short amount of time. We don't have a ton of time to be wasting. The next step is to pause. Take a breath. Take a deep breath. Step 3, say your mantra. You could say it out loud, say it in your mind silently, and then get back to your meaningful few activities, the work that really matters. Then track it, and then track it. So you're not trying to stop your brain from thinking, and we're not saying that these thoughts are bad. We're just trying to teach our brains to come back to where it is that we want them to be. A trained mind is not an empty mind. It's an obedient mind. It's a mind that listens, comes when called, and stays where you put it. A mantra is the call. A mantra is the leash. A mantra is the reset. And every repetition is a step toward mastery. And you can also have physical mantras. You could think about these things as rituals. And this is sort of getting off the point a little bit, but having different rituals, you think about different athletes. They have swing rituals. Think about Tiger Woods. He gets up and addresses the ball the same way. If he's hitting a drive or a putt, you think about athletes as they're going through their pregame rituals, as they're going to the line to shoot a free throw. You name it. Federer, Djokovic, Sinner, Alcaraz. They have rituals they go through before they serve and they return. Every aspect. There's visualization. There are triggers that they're going through. So you can think about it like that as well. Just incorporate this. And top performers do all these things. And then finally, I'm not advocating for an infinity war. I'm not advocating for any kind of hustle porn where you're supposed to be working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I'm not saying that at all. But what I know for a fact is that there are certain things that you must do on a daily basis to get the life that you want. Think about it as your power list. Andy Frisella talks about his power list. These are the 3 to 5 activities that simply must be done. They are non-negotiable. I will get them done. And when you focus on those and you get them done, well, once they're done, you can go do whatever you want. You want to sit on Instagram for the rest of the day? You do that. You want to go take a nap? Make that happen. Go to the gym, go for a walk, play video games. I don't care. You've done the things that you said you needed to do in the service of what really matters. So you're giving yourself permission. And meditation and mantra and refocusing your thoughts is just going to make you more efficient, make you better. It's make your performance better. That's what I'm interested in for you. As always, do your part by doing your best.